Some of the darkest moments in history happened right in front of our eyes. What you're about to hear is one of them. A moment in history partially erased, but not completely.
The Big News, a depth in news coverage never before seen in the Bay Area. I'm Glenn Hansen, anchorman for The Big News, Monday.
Sorry, for those of you who saw Late Night Weekend News Watch last night, we did have a film report and a commentary by Bob Peterson. Unfortunately, we had technical difficulties and cannot bring it to you now. However, watch News Watch tonight at 5:30 and we'll have that story for you then. As of this morning, Grace Foster, who was shot in that incident, is in satisfactory condition at Sarasota Memorial Hospital. In keeping with the WXLT practice of presenting the most immediate and complete reports of local blood and guts news, TV40 presents what is believed to be a television first. In living color, exclusive coverage of an attempted suicide.
On a summer morning in 1974, a local television news anchor named Christine Chubbuck sat behind a desk just as she had 100 times before. She was 29 years old, intelligent, sharp, and deeply committed to journalism. She believed the news should matter, that it should confront reality and not escape it. But behind the camera, Christine was struggling with depression, with isolation, with the feeling that her life and her work were going unnoticed. That morning, she read the news as usual. Then, without warning, she broke from the script. What happened next was never meant to be seen again. And yet, nearly 50 years later, we are still trying to understand it. Christine Chubbuck was a television reporter at WXLT in Sarasota, Florida. She was intelligent, outspoken, and deeply serious about her work. She believed journalism should be honest, that it should mean something, but she had battled depression for years. She spoke about it with family. She survived a previous attempt, and she often felt deeply alone in her personal life. Colleagues remembered her as smart and dedicated, but also frustrated, socially awkward at times, and struggling to connect outside of work. In the months leading up to her death, Christine made comments that unsettled those around her. To one colleague, she reportedly said, "Wouldn't it be wild if I blew myself away on the air?" It was laughed off, because people don't want to believe someone means that. But unfortunately, Christine wasn't joking. On the morning of July 15th, 1974, she arrived at the station like any other workday. She wrote her script. She dressed professionally. She greeted her coworkers. And she brought a revolver. When the broadcast began, everything appeared normal. A standard local news segment. But when it came time to read a story about a shooting with no available footage, she paused. She looked directly into the camera, and she delivered the final line she had written herself. The broadcast cut to black. Crew members rushed the studio. An engineer later said the sound echoed through the room. Christine was taken to the hospital where she died 14 hours later. And with her death, a new and unsettling question emerged. Because unlike most tragedies, This one was recorded. The tape existed, and then it disappeared. The station claimed it was destroyed. Others said copies were made. Some believed an executive took it home. Over time, altered versions surfaced online, edited, distorted, and unmistakably fake. Yet rumors persisted that someone had it, that someone had seen it, that somewhere a copy still existed. But no verified version has ever emerged, and that absence became its own kind of horror. Because Christine Chubbuck didn't just die on television, she became lost media. A moment so extreme, so unsettling, that society collectively decided it wasn't meant to be seen again. But here's the part that makes this story harder to dismiss. Christine planned it. She wrote a script in advance explaining her actions. She understood exactly how it would look, how it would sound, how it would be framed. She didn't see it as a breakdown. She saw it as a statement, a final broadcast in a world she believed only listened when violence occurred. And that's why Christine Chubbuck still unsettles us. Not just because of what she did, but because she did it deliberately, on her own terms, inside a system designed to observe, not to intervene. So what do we do with that? Do we see her as a cautionary tale? A victim of untreated mental illness? A system of media exploitation? Or do we confront the uncomfortable truth that sometimes the most disturbing moments aren't accidents? They're messages. And Christine made sure hers could never be fully erased, even if the video is completely lost.